Welcome to OAA Now, your home for Oakland Activities Association news and information. Here's your host, Sammy Taramina.
Welcome to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Taramina, blogger of the Dragon's Den, blogger of Inside the OAA, and one of the hosts between Taraminas on Orion Neighborhood Television. I'd like to welcome our friends from Oxford Community Television watching us, and also those watching on YouTube. Today we got a very special guest. He is the writer of Bernie's Bites. He works for MI Prep Zone, and also one of the hosts of State Champs is Scott Bernstein.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of your work and love your passion, love your dedication. Since we met probably 7-8 years ago.
Yes.
So I'm a fan of your blog and love to talk OAA sports.
You know, when you look at the OAA, of course, this year, we're gonna go with football, of course. First, because that's very important. Football, of course, you've been on the very high on some of these teams coming. Of course, West Bloomfield is one of the teams, of course, led by Tristan Jackson, who's heading to East Lansing next year. Yeah. But you got a couple of those guys, and Theo Majette, who probably is going to be D1, yeah. And then you got Evan Foster, who's going to Bowling Green. Nevon Mosley is a Purdue Boilermaker.
Mosley's just one of the most versatile players in the state. He can do so much on both sides of the ball. Offensively, he can carry the ball, he can catch the ball, he can get in the slot, he can go deep. Defensively, he's just a ball hawk of a safety, tough hitter, smart football player. Tristan Jackson's just
he's insane.
He had a
90-yard touchdown against Clarkston of all teams.
His electricity level it's just such a given in the equation. You just know every week you're going to get something special from him. And like you mentioned, it's not just him. They got a lot of really solid, fundamentally sound, as well as tremendously athletically gifted playmakers on that team, and then obviously the coaching staff. Ronnie Bellamy, who played at Michigan.
Yeah,
learned under Lloyd Carr.
Yep.
Played in the NFL.
Running a very similar offense, read option offense a little bit.
Yeah.
I seen Jackson score 79-yard touchdown against Orion. That was just I was probably impressed, you know what I mean? Because Orion had him shut down most of the game until that 7-yard run.
He's going to state as a receiver, and it's like whatever you want him to do, he'll do. You want him to return kicks, he'll return kicks. You want him to play in the secondary, he'll play in the secondary.
Probably won't be playing quarterback.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So, but looking back at his high school career, as a freshman, he earned the starting job on the varsity.
Right.
Sophomore year, to his
credit,
got hurt. Well, he got hurt and then kind of stepped back and
played receiver.
Played receiver for Robert.
I think it was
Robert.
He'll get you.
I'm blanking on his name, but had a really, really good season coming over from Harrison, starting at West Bloomfield, and was one of the top quarterbacks in the OAA, Tristan steps in as a receiver and gets all league honors as a wide receiver. The next year he moves back to quarterback. They have the best season in school history. This year he's doing a little bit of both. When
you look at West Bloomfield this year, when they get to the playoffs, do you see them possibly threatening Detroit Cass Tech?
Yeah, for sure. They got to get that kind of postseason jitters / not really having been there in the past aura that sometimes it seemed last year
when they lost to Central.
Yeah, and they didn't look particularly great in the first half of the playoff opener. Just looked like they there's the regular season and there's the playoffs. Same for pro football as well. And I think last year's experience, those two games they played, and it was the first win in school history in the playoffs, and then tough loss to Wall Lake Central. That experience is gonna bode well from this year. I think they won't have those jitters, and as long as they can get past that kind of that stigma of playing with everything on the line and there is no tomorrow. All things being even pound for pound, I think West Bloomfield has an excellent chance at winning the school's first state.
The schedule lightens up after Orion for West Bloomfield now because you get to play Stony Creek's on the schedule, Oxford on the schedule, but you got to deal with that crossover. It could be still. It's looking more and more like it's gonna be Harrison after Harrison knocks Southfield out 17-14. But speaking of the white, you know what I mean. Let's talk about another team in the white. And this is an enigma team, the Farmington Falcons. They look good against Adams.
I gave him the Bernie jinx. Sometimes when I write a feature on a player or a team, like the next day they get upset or they play bad or they get injured. So I wrote I wrote a piece about Farmington in my notebook at MI Prep Zone, my weekly prep notebook, and I talked about how they surprised the critics, and a lot of people didn't think they'd be a factor in the OAA race, and they lost Des Fitzpatrick, and it hasn't affected them that much.
This is why when I said in my previous show of the OAA Now, I couldn't trust Farmington. I just couldn't trust them, and then. They were up 21-7 to 3 quarters, and then
Farmington, who Todd Schultz does a very good job over there, but and they played way over their heads in that game, from what I hear. But and they made Farmington pay for their mistakes, and you can't put a team away.
They threw 3 touchdowns on that beleaguered secondary of theirs. You know what I mean? They threw 3, including one of them with less than a minute to go, and then they recovered an onside kick. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, and now North Farmington has their first Farmington jug since 2007.
It's been a while.
It's been a long while. I mean, what's going on with the Falcons?
Great job by Coach Schultz. I mean, we can't just put it all on a bad effort by the Falcons. But, maybe Farmington was getting a little... I know they lost to Southfield, but they came back with a really impressive
win over Oak
Park. And maybe they were just getting a little fat and sassy. I don't know. I mean, guys like David Reese and Jakar Jackson and Kyle Brunson aren't the type of kids that I would think would be letting up. Those are kids that are 115% every play, every snap, and it seems like they're the type that make sure that their teammates are doing the same thing.
Yeah, but you suspect coaching could be an issue with Farmington, because you look at in that area, you know what I mean? Because you got Harrington with Team Harrington there. Then you got North Farmington, you know what I mean? North Farmington not known for football power. And then you got Farmington here. Do you question John Bechtel's coaching at all? Maybe at times.
No, I don't question his coaching. I think he's a very, very good tactician and motivator. I know that they've tended to fade a little bit sometimes late. I know that they had that one really special season 12 years ago. I think it was 2003 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
I think they went to the Final Four.
I remember that.
Which was one of John Bechtel's best coaching jobs. But every year they're there. It seems like the one thing John Bechtel's done, at least in my from my perspective, is that he's made Farmington football relevant and someone that you're talking about. It's not just Harrison's going to beat up on them every year now.
Right.
But I do think that it hurt them when they lost Des Fitzpatrick, who's not only
at Waterford Mott,
right, but he's not only just a dynamic wide receiver and future Division I talent that's going to Louisville, but he's a really good defensive back. So you lost it.
I've heard a lot of negativity about Fitzpatrick.
Well, there's just frankly, there's a lot of. He's one of these kids that's a bit of a lightning rod because he's got a dad that's very hands-on, very, very active.
Because he played 1 year at Harrison for his JV.
He was at Harrison for a year. He was
at
Farmington for 2 years. Now he's at
Mott.
You never liked his. I have very positive things to say about Des as a young man and as a football player. But that said, I don't like kids going to multiple schools. I don't like to see kids going to 3 schools. It sets the wrong precedent.
I agree with you.
And it's putting emphasis on the wrong things.
I agree with you.
At a 15 and 16-year-old kid.
If it was me, I would.
And these aren't dumpster programs. Farmington and Harrison are good programs.
I agree. I should let kids develop their own talents at their own high school for 1 year instead of having to go somewhere else, But the problem is everybody's going open enrollment now. You know what I mean? The only school I know that's a closed enrollment is Lake Orion.
It's free agency.
Right. It's like free agency. It's terrible. Yeah. It's terrible.
The thing about Des, another thing that people don't like, and it's just where we are right now in the world of recruiting, which has become an entity all of its own. It used to be college football was college football, and recruiting was a part of college football. Now recruiting's a whole different beast.
Oh, I agree with you.
And from that, Des Fitzpatrick comes from this new line of players that are able to garner Division I offers before they even step foot on the varsity football field. So he had literally, I think, 9 or 10 Division I offers before he played a varsity football game.
I agree with you because you got to prove yourself every time out there. You can't be all hype. You know what I mean? And you look at players like Samuel Johnson III at Southfield. You know what I mean? A lot of people. He's a freshman who hasn't even went on the field, and he's getting at least 2 offers from mag schools.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a different beast than it was when I was growing up. But even since I started covering recruiting in 2007, 2008, how much it's changed in 8 or 9 years. But yeah, so there's these kind of camp kids that are go on the summer circuit.
Oh, I agree.
And play 7-on-7s, and it's just, in my opinion, it's a very risky proposition when you're judging kids on running around in t-shirts and shorts. It has nothing
to do with the shoulder pads.
Has very little to do with what you're going to see on Friday nights.
Right. But when you look at a guy like Tristan Jackson, he's a special talent, very special player. He stayed at West Bloomfield all 4 years. You know what I mean? That program at West Bloomfield has had homegrown talent over there for the last 4 years. You know, I look at that type of team, and another team we're going to talk about in a minute, and that's Rochester Adams. That's for a different reason. But I do worry about Southfield, though, because Southfield, they get a lot of talent from other schools, like from Wayne County and all them areas. You know what I mean?
They'll get like 10 kids, 15 kids every year show up at their doorstep from different.
Right. And the big one was Tyron Light and Brendan Brown, who went over
from Harrison.
They came over from Harrison, and look what happened to them. They lost to Harrison.
Yeah, that's another example of just it's the Wild West out there, and Brendan Brown and Ty Light, who were two, it's expected to be big time contributors for Harrison, a team that was coming off a Final Four last year, and they bolted the week before.
That was terrible.
Heads to Southfield. They're both. Brendan Brown is performing really well as a running back linebacker. Tyron Light battled an injury. I think he's back now, but it's just where we are right now. And one thing I didn't like about that transfer, if what I'm hearing is true, and I'll give John Harrington the benefit of the doubt. He said to me that these kids left without saying a word to me, and that's not I hear that a lot. It's like if you're gonna leave and you're gonna leave, you're gonna pull a Barry Sanders.
Right, you're gonna pull Barry Sanders out of you.
At least you should give the coach that you're leaving, whether it be you or I think it should be you, the kid. But even if it's not the kid, if it's the dad, calling and saying, "Listen, I'm doing this. This is what we're doing."
Then what's the point of these new rules that the MHA put in?
I said this on a podcast I did for state champs when we were talking about transfers. It looked like a couple years ago the MHSA had stepped in and put in this links rule, which they were kind of puffing their chest out about, saying, "Hey, we're going to fix the problem." When the links rule has, I use this expression, has more holes in it than the Titanic.
It has more holes.
There's so many loopholes and ways to contravene and subvert and skirt the rules, and
it's terrible.
It's
horrible.
MHSA really needs to get their hands.
They need
this,
it. I'm disappointed.
It's getting worse every year.
Yeah, it's getting worse every year because one, they're not. If it was me, in my opinion, this is what I do. I would say if you are living and moving in that district, you could stay, you could play, but wait till a semester. Now, if you're going for athletic reasons, you know what? You're not playing the whole year.
It's all athletic reasons.
It's
95%. There are some cases when your dad moves, but again, all due respect, and I have a ton of respect for the Fitzpatrick family, but you cannot tell me that they just moved to Waterford for the sake of they had really. Well, you got
to do more investigation on that because you could just tell if you're really moving
there because he liked the offense. They threw the football.
Yeah, they threw the football a lot. Or it's Farmington's team,
and Farmington was coming off. Their quarterback was graduating.
Right, graduating.
They had a sophomore coming up.
Yeah, sophomore coming up. Sophomore's actually not a bad quarterback. Yeah. But let's go to another team here. We got some issues. Mighty Rochester Adams, 2 home losses at home to home. And then they ended up they're 1-3 since Stony Creek game. Yeah. And now they're in danger of missing the playoffs for the second straight year. What has gone wrong with this Adams team?
Again, I'm going to try to tread lightly on this and just I've heard, and I don't want to get into specifics and start pointing fingers.
That's fine.
But I've heard about divisions within that program and factions within that program that seem to be the last couple of years dating back to when I started to hear about this is when Coach Petrito's two nephews came to town, Tony and Phil Anise.
Yeah.
And I think these factions that developed then are existing now. And I think it's being very divisive in that program. Again, I don't know if that has to do with what's going on in the field. I just have heard stuff from people that it's not one big happy family in that program, that you've had parents that have been upset with certain ways that their kids have been treated. I'm not saying that Coach Petrito is mistreating kids. I don't know that, or I shouldn't say mistreating. That Coach Petrito is not treating kids the right way. I know Coach Petrito as a stand-up guy,
He's a good guy. He's a great guy.
Outstanding football coach, and outstanding motivator. But you don't like to hear about programs that aren't cohesive. And again, some of this is more innuendo, and I don't know.
We don't know what's going on.
We don't know exactly, but I hear that before the season, and then when I see what's happening during the season, I can't help but wonder.
Do you think the play is affecting
I can't wonder if some of the divisiveness that I was hearing about in the offseason and factions within the program are bleeding over onto the field. I don't know. I haven't seen them play this year, so.
Well, Adams does play a tough game with Harrison this week, so that's not going to be an easy game.
I know they have also had some issues in terms of participation.
Right.
They've had less kids
less
coming
kids,
out for football over the
I've noticed that last year when Adams played Orion. You know what I mean?
Orion rolls out 80 kids.
Yeah, Orion rolls out 80 kids. Now, speaking of the Dragons, you know what I mean? This is a team that, they've got the quarterback in play. They got the running backs in play. What has been the Dragons' problem?
The defense?
Probably. It looks the Dragons played much better against Troy and Oxford, but West Bloomfield, my goodness gracious. The punt block didn't help.
I wrote about Caden before the season, the quarterback. I love Jalen Wiggins. Keith Fields is one of my favorites. I identified him when I first saw him as a
He went and destroyed Oxford like crazy.
Yeah. But it looks like they're having some trouble giving up big plays, and some of the scores. I know that they've given up some points.
When you look at clearly, you know what I mean. Like, do you see Lake Orion? Do you see Lake Orion right now as a playoff team, even though they got to play Clarkson week 8 and they got to play and they have the crossover? Do you see Orion
if they can win out?
Do you see them as possibly 5-4 team getting in?
Maybe. I think it's tough. I think the Clarkston being a little down this year, the red is just really not kind of what it has been in the past. It's kind of West Bloomfield and everyone else.
Well, let's see how well
Athens finishes.
Athens and Clarkson, big game this week there. What do you think about Kessman playing the way he's been playing, taking over for Anthony Ryder at quarterback?
I think, frankly, it was and again, all due respect to Anthony Ryder, but it was something they needed to do. The games that I've seen, the 2 games I saw of them, they had some issues with the quarterback and moving the football.
Well, this is not the same Clarkson team. Like the lines aren't the same. They're not the same team.
And they've been playing without Nolan Erickson.
Right.
I know.
Well, he'll probably come back sometime this week, especially. But Brendan Fugel's really picked it up.
No, Mike Flugel.
Sorry, my bad.
No, I like Mike Flugel a lot. He's been a really, really good a sub in. But I think it was you'd rather make that switch in week 4 or week 3 than do it in week 8 or 9 where you're already kind of past the
going
point
up against
when you're past the point of no return. I mean,
once
there's no point of switching it up once you're already in.
So it could be very interesting heading into the year. Of course, we didn't mention the blue as much, but what's your thoughts on the blue? Of course, is it Groves and everybody else, or is it basically? Are there any team that's made you?
Berkeley's been playing better.
Royal Oak?
Royal Oak, I like what I've seen from them this year. They're becoming relevant and competitive.
Lathrop,
I like what I saw Lathrop this year.
They didn't look good in the last 2 middle weeks, and then they shocked Avondale.
Yeah, I was at that game, and they played really well. And Jason Solomon, I think, is doing a good job of kind of continuing the rebuild that Keith Stevens was doing before he passed away.
But now you're going to be merging those 2 schools. Yeah. Now that's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that in the 3rd segment, of course, the merging of the schools and what impacts that's going to bring. So when we come back, we're going to talk about a sport that you really love the most, boys basketball, here on OAA Now. That was good. It was good, Scott. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good.
You like it was good. You know what I mean? Got to talk about Orion a little bit. Got to talk about the You ready to go, Scott?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome back to OAA Now. I'm Sammy Taramina. Of course, my guest, Scott Bernstein here. Of course, of MI Prep Zone at State Champs. Of course, we're going to talk. There's a lot of changes in the boys basketball circuit. Of course, there
have been two really big transfers. There have been two really big transfers in the OAA Red.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly the two favorites.
Right.
North Farmington
and Clarkston.
Clarkston got an in-state transfer.
Right. Dylan Alderson
and North Farmington just last week got an out-of-state transfer.
Nate Brooks
from Georgia, 6'7". Power forward, small forward. Looks like he's getting some Division I looks already. He was all region.
Let's go more into depth with Clarkston.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, because you got Foster Lawyer, you got Dylan Alderson there, and you got Taven Throgmorton there.
Yeah.
The question is, where is the other size going to be at? You know,
yeah, they're not. They're going to have an issue in terms of on the blocks. They don't have a lot of size. Mitch Heaton is a guy to keep a lookout for his senior year to have a big year. I think he's another football guy that is about 6'6", 6'7". I think he'll step in the middle and probably do a really good job of patrolling the paint. But Dylan Alderson is a game changer. I saw him this summer at some showcase camps and. 6'3", 6'4", plays the 1, plays the 2, can play the 3 if you want him to. He's a coach's kid, just like Foster Lawyer. He's going to be really smart. I don't think this is going out too much on a limb, but I will predict before the end of the newly christened Lawyer Alderson era at Clarkston, Dan Fife will win his first state championship and most likely go off into the sunset with either one state title or maybe 2.
Well.
But Dylan Alderson coming over there is that big of a deal. I hope that the three of them can coexist. I don't doubt that they can. I know Throgmorton came over there a couple years ago
from Wall Lake Northern.
I would guess that he was thinking to himself, I don't know this for a fact, that this year he was going to be, taking 15 shots a game.
Right.
Maybe Alderson coming in changes that. Hopefully
it does in a sense.
Taven has proven a real team player throughout the last 2 years, so I don't doubt that he'll be able to.
Well, junior, I thought, when I looked at him was, I'm going like, okay, this kid's all right. You know what I mean? But he didn't give me the big wow factor. Now, late junior year, he gave me the wow factor. He can do a lot of
different things. He's long. He can shoot. He can get to the basket. He's a very smart player. He's one of the best passing forwards in Oakland County. I think he's a Division II, just a steal for a Ferris State or a Grand Valley. I think he's low Division I talent in terms of could play at the
maybe
MAC
Oakland
level.
Could get him. Maybe
but Alderson, by my opinion, Alderson and Foster Lawyer are guys that will play power conference. College basketball at the NCAA Division I, and I just can't. When you take the basketball IQs that these two kids have, one's only a sophomore, one's only a junior.
That's frightening.
And then you take their natural physical ability and basketball skill on the floor,
and that's frightening.
Then you add Dan Fife into the mix, one of the best coaches in the business.
In the state, yeah.
It's just
it's going to be tough.
But I do think though. I'm pretty sure Alderson will be able to play from day one. I kind of think that he should have to sit until
I think he probably will play from week 1 if he moved his family into Clarkston. He moved his family.
Yeah. I don't like though how this links rule when Here's what I think in terms of the Alderson situation. He had not enrolled yet, and his family had not moved yet, and he was practicing and playing with Clarkston in the summer. But as long as you move, that links rule is eliminated. But in my opinion, until you're enrolled and until you've moved,
you should not be playing.
So in my opinion, Dylan Alderson probably should not have been allowed to play with Clarkston in the summer until his family had officially moved in there and he had officially enrolled. So
that could be investigated.
I think it's been looked at as long as he's enrolled and he has moved to school by the time school starts.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. I
don't like that. I think you should be enrolled and move there if you're going to play in the summer with the team. And I think maybe because you moved over there, and I get that we're not calling this an athletically motivated transfer. But I would guess Dylan Alderson wouldn't be over there if Clarkson didn't have a really good basketball team.
Right, and Foster Lawyer. Yeah, I agree with you.
He should be, in my opinion, forced to sit the first semester.
I would think that. I agree with you there, but there's another guy that's going to probably have to sit the semester, and that's Kevon Fuller.
He's going. There's no question. The transfer from Oak Park, who transferred back
to Oak Park. That was mind-boggling.
That situation is
crazy.
Was a bit of a fiasco. Calvin is I don't overstate this, is an unreal talent. I mean, a guy that has an ability. I'm not going to necessarily say that he's a future NBA player, but he's the type of kid that can play professional, has the type of athletic ability and size and instinct to play professional basketball, make a living at basketball overseas.
The question's going to be his academics when you look
exactly. He has got to. The
reason why he was kicked off the team was because of that academic scandal that forced Brian Tipton to go.
Right. Well, we don't know exactly if he was kicked off or if he left or whatever. Anything after the scandal where there were allegations of point fixing, Brian Tipton resigned, the coach, and Calvin Fuller, who was very close to Brian Tipton, has come with Brian Tipton from Detroit.
Cody
left Oak Park in the middle of the year.
Go back to Detroit.
And I believe he was enrolled at Mumford.
I thought it was Pershing, but
okay. Either Pershing or Mumford. I had heard Mumford, and then in the off season he was going to open gyms. I think at Oak Park as well as at North Farmington, and he ended up enrolling back at
Oak Park.
Enrolling back at Oak Park, and he needs to get his academics in check this semester, and if he keeps his grades in check, the administration saying that he'll be able to play.
For new coach Jamie Thomas, of course, he came over. He used to coach at West Bloomfield for the girls' basketball program.
And the boys.
The boys' program. So bringing him in, it's going to be very interesting.
He's high energy. He's a guy that's had experience as a head coach. He's had experience playing Division I basketball. He's just, I think he's everything that's right about high school sports, and he brings a lot of integrity, and I think he'll be good for that position to stabilize it. He's a good role model for kids. He's a good role model for Calvin. And like I said, if Calvin Fuller can just keep his head screwed on straight, I've talked to him. I think he's a good kid. This kid has really got a lot of upside to eventually make it to high Division I basketball, and then possibly more than that.
When you look, let's go to North Farmington now. Of course, they brought in Nate Brooks. You mentioned this on your blog, Bernie's Bites. I mean, you're the kid that 6'7". You've seen video of this kid. What can he bring? Because you got Jacob Joubert and you got Billy Thomas there.
Yeah, Billy Thomas is going to finally, get into the groove with North Farmington. He was only able to play a handful of games last year because of his transfer, which the MHSA flagged, and eventually I think he played 3 games. And then wasn't eligible for the playoffs.
Right.
He's a Division I talent, one of the best pure shooters I've ever seen at the high school level in Detroit. Just has a rifle, quick release, limitless range. He's a better ball handler than people give him credit for. Jacob Joubert needs to. He's been good, really solid.
But bringing Thomas in too, will help him.
He's going to have, in my opinion, he's been good these last 3 years. He's been a starter since he was a freshman. Bringing Thomas there and getting Brooks there is going to take Jacob Joubert's game to the next level. He's going to have a great senior year. A guy that you can expect to be going for 15 and close to maybe 7, 8 assists. Very smart. His dad is obviously the judge, Antoine Joubert, the MHSA legend.
Right.
But with the depth that North Farmington has right now, they're going to. I can't pick them to win the OAA.
No, because you got to give it to Clarkson.
But they're gonna give him a battle, and depending on what Southfield has back.
Yeah, they got a new coach in there, and Mike Avery.
Former Lathrop coach. I'm not sure if Miguel Priest stayed or not. If Priest stayed, and you got Miguel Priest, Amari Hardy, and Mike Flowers as a 3-headed monster at Southfield, then in my opinion, you have a very tight three-headed race, but
what about Adams?
Race. Oh, then Adams.
What about Adams?
So 14 race.
Because
Adams got all those seniors.
You got Littleson, you got Zinni. I mean, like, John Hall's going to be fine here. You got to give some love to Adams.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was thinking that they were in the lower division. But they're in the red. They're in the red.
They're
in the red these days.
The white, you got to look at West Bloomfield with Trishan. You got Avondale, who could be a very good team in there. You got Pontiac, of course.
I think Pontiac's going to be, just keep getting better with Ben Kelso. They got a,
I've got depth concerns with them.
They have depth concerns, but they got a very, very good inside-outside combo in Jalen Kelso.
Israel Williams.
So, Jalen Kelso is one of those just, again, a coach's kid, super smart, is the perfect combination of scoring point guard and distributor.
Let's go to the OA Blue. Of course, this is going to be a very interesting league. 4-team race this year between Orion, who's got a new coach, and Coach Jim Manzo. Yeah.
And then again, another coming back. He was the coach at Lake Orion during the
Drew Maynard era. And then you got Farmington, you got Stony Creek, and Rochester.
Yeah.
Could be a 4-team race this year.
I like I really like I love what Steve Norgard's been able to do at Stony Creek.
Got John Pleasant.
Obviously, John Pleasant at Rochester. You're going to have very fundamentally sound teams. They've kind of been. They got two really good guards.
At Stony Creek and Sincola
Rochester. Well, Rochester's got two really good guards.
Mazzara and Schlatter.
And Schattler. And Stony Creek's got J.P. Sinicola.
John Paul Sincola.
Who's just a. You want to talk about a rifleman? I just said that. Billy Thomas is a rifleman. J.P. Sikola, quick release, dead eye shooting range.
Team you ain't talked about much is Lake Orion because you got a couple guys come back and Noah Harris, David Gomez, and Chris Dudek. You know what I mean? You got Kane Prescorn in there, and you know what I mean. So
Kane plays basketball.
Yeah, he does. What's your thoughts on the Dragons?
Well, I think that Jim Manzo is going to be kind of you're going to see some of that style that he coached. Back in the days when Lake Orion was kind of a up and down team and could score the basketball, and I think they defended well, and I covered Jim his last 2 years. No, I.
No, 07-08, yeah.
When he was at Lake Orion, my first couple years at the Oakland Press, I was covering Drew Maynard, so I was covering those teams. Anthony Fields went on to play at Wake Forest, and then Bradley.
Yep. Do you think when you look at, and of course you got Farmington, of course they got a 3-headed
Farmington right now. You want to talk about one of the fastest?
They're not consistent though.
Fastest rising recruits in Oakland County right now is Jordan Graham. So many transfers. Transfer last year from I believe Cass Tech. That came in, started for them last year. About 6'4" on the wing, had a really good summer. Don't be shocked if he gets a Division II scholarship or possibly a small Division I school.
What do you see right now for the Blue right now? Who'd you give the early edge to?
It's a toss up, man. It's tough. I don't know. I mean,
I'd probably give it to Orion right now. Be honest with you. But you got Oxford, Seal.
You can't look past Oxford. Jamal Thomas.
Jamal Thomas not there anymore.
Oh, where's Jamal Thomas now?
He went to Chicago.
Okay, see, I'm learning more.
He went to Chicago.
So what is it? What does Orion got, or what does Oxford got back now?
They got one player I know who was at the McCormick camp.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you got Seaholm was always scrappy. They're always talented. And then you got to give the early edge to Orion because I think Orion returns a lot of talent. They got Noah Harris.
I like Gomez.
Yeah, I like Gomez a lot. Noah Harris, and you have Chris Dudek. Of course, those three guys played together even when they were in JV. They played last year. I mean, you got Kane Prescorn's up-and-coming star, up-and-coming player in the making. They still got to dress some size, but Stony Creek's going to be very talented.
Is Prescorn a really good basketball player?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then you got Stony Creek, who's very you got Stony Creek with J.P. Sincola, and then you got Rochester. Of course, they were 0-21 last year. I think going down the lower division will help them. And then let's talk about the last division, which is the gold.
Hazel Park, I think, is a team that is going to be good.
I love Hazel Park this year. I love that Hazel Park.
Carl
Bow. I like them a lot, what they're going to bring. I like that we got to keep an eye on Groves, too. You got to keep an eye.
We got a great coach there in Mark West.
Mark West, yes.
Brandon Barrett was a guy that was at Athens. He was at Lathrop. He played at Lathrop. He was a point guard on Lathrop's team that went to the state championship game back when I was in high school in the mid-'90s. And I think he's a guy that's building something really kind of which could kind of in a similar way Kyle Riley is doing with the football program. I think the football program, the basketball program in the next, let's say, 2 or 3 years could really take big steps and kind of become relevant again when they haven't been the last couple of years.
Well, when you look at Hazel Park, this has been a team that's really been struggling. You know what I mean? The last few years. You know, you also got Ferndale. You know, Ferndale's another team. You know, last year
I don't know anything about Ferndale this year for basketball.
They don't know much. You know what I mean? Like, but they did go to the district final last year.
Yeah.
You know, but they end up losing that.
I think Herbie's still the coach.
Yeah, Herbie's still the coach over there. So a lot of questions linger. We didn't talk about one team I forgot to mention. It's Bloomfield Hills with Mike Mariansky.
Yeah, I think this is
he's going to be
He's
fun.
one of these guys that really, really deserved a job. He's a longtime assistant. Been on benches for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Coached some really good, championship caliber teams at his alma mater, Bishop Foley, at West Bloomfield, at Berkeley.
Yep.
He's been the number one assistant to Jeremy Denna,
right,
who's also been his JV coach this whole
right.
time. Mariansky is one of these guys that's just, he's all about the right things. He understands kids. He understands basketball. He's just very positive, very smart, and again, one of these guys that has been on the bench way too long without getting a chance to get his own program. Finally got it. One of these guys that interviewed for a lot of jobs, was having trouble landing one. Bloomfield Hills got a really good find in Mike Mariansky.
They're going to be
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
They got a lot of young talent.
And we got one more coach name here, and that's Aaron Smith, who took over
Aaron Smith at Royal Oak. Another great hire. Another guy that's been on the bench for a long time. Aaron and I go back to the days on the AAU circuit. When we were in high school together. I think he was a year or two older than me. He went to Troy.
Yep.
I remember playing one summer. I played on an AAU team with him back in the 90s. But Aaron is, again, he works for the Detroit Pistons. He's used to be one of Joe Dumar's guys. Now he's still a part of the franchise. He is another one that just really deserved a job and is going to do outstanding. He's been Gary Freilich's top assistant.
Right. When you look at Bloomfield Hills, do you think they can make an impact in the white this year?
Yeah, I think they can. I think they could surprise people.
I think they will too.
They got a ton of talent. If Mike can harness it and get these guys focused, I think they'll be able to beat any given team on any given night in that league.
When you look at who would you give the early edge and the favorite in the white this year? Who would you give the early edge to? It's a tough. I mean, I'm picking your mind here.
Again, I think these are really tight races. I know Athens moved up, so it's no longer.
Athens is in a lot. I'm sorry about Athens. They're in a lot of trouble.
I don't know why they moved up though.
They should have moved up last year.
Yeah.
Because maybe it was because they wanted to win a division. I don't know.
I mean, right now, I really like Oak Park.
Oak Park, really?
I like Devin Mills and.
West Bloomfield.
Oh, I'm sorry. West Bloomfield.
West Bloomfield's in there.
Okay, so I take that back. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But even with Tristan Jackson though, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be tough with Calvin Fuller on the floor in the second semester with Devin Mills.
I think Oak Park is I think Troy's in the cellar in that division. I think Oak Park's second to last. Pontiac, then you got Avondale. Oh, great. Now I forgot Bloomfield Hills. Yep. And then I think it's Avondale and West Bloomfield. You know what I mean? That's my early.
Timmy Morton again does an outstanding
Tim Morton
job
does a really good job at Avondale.
He
doesn't have the talent that they had last year. Of course.
Do you really think Oak Park is second to last in that league?
Oh, yeah, because you look at I'm a little concerned about the talent pool over there at Oak Park.
They got a lot of talent there.
But it's a tough division.
Yeah.
Tough division.
So I guess I'd give it to West Bloomfield.
Yeah,
I was thinking. I don't know. Again, I all the leagues mesh in my head. I'm thinking West Bloomfield's up, but they're
there's a lot of parity in boys basketball this year. There is so much parity.
So I'd probably give it to West Bloomfield. But I really like Pontiac. I like
Oak Park.
I like Oak Park.
Bloomfield Hills.
Troy. I mean, Gary Freilich's always going to give you a consistent product.
Yes, he will.
Bloomfield Hills could be a sleeper.
It's going to be a tough division. The white, I call it the division. It's one of the toughest divisions in the league. The red, you got to give it the edge. You have Clarkson, North, Southfield, or Adams, but Clarkson's right now above everybody else. Blue, I got to give the edge to Orion, even though you got Seaholm, Rochester, and Farmington. I think Orion's got a lot of experience coming back. Farmington, I'm a little concerned with their consistency. Stony Creek, 3-point shooters, very heavy team there. Farming, Rochester.
I'm worried about what I'm going to pick West Bloomfield, but losing Zach Allred is going to be. I mean, that's not a little loss.
No, it's not.
That guy was a
he
beast
was a stud,
in the middle,
yeah.
And he was a leader. And not to say Tristan.
Yeah, but you still have Tristan Jackson there.
No, Tristan Jackson's the best player. Could be the best player in all of OAA in basketball.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, he could be better than Foster Lawyer and better than Dylan Alderson.
That is frightening.
In my opinion, Tristan Jackson could be a high Division I basketball player, point guard in the Big Ten.
Right.
So that by yourself is you're going to give yourself some good chances to win basketball.
I agree
games.
with you.
But they got some question marks, I think, with the other kids. They're going to need a big year from Kevin McAdoo.
They need that.
Aubrey Hainsworth.
Yep.
Hopefully, will give them some good time, good minutes. And they're going to have to replace, the presence in the middle.
Right.
In Allred.
Right, I agree with you. And the gold I got Hazel Park. I got them favored over Groves this year.
I would say.
Yeah,
but
I'd say that too. All right, now we come back on OAA Now. We're going to talk about girls basketball. Of course, some big news, big headlines here for girls basketball. Of course, here on OAA Now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always take notes. You doing all right, Scott? I'm trying to make sure you have a stress reliever. You know what I mean? Ready to go with the ladies?
Yep.
Okay. Welcome back to OAA Now. Sammy Taramina. Of course, my good my guest today, Scott Bernstein of MI Prep Zone and State Champs. A lot of some new coaches around the OAA. Of course, recently from Oak Park. Of course, you wrote a column on the new coach Peggy Evans-Carr coming over to Oak Park.
Coming home to Oakland County.
Coming home, taking over for Diane Jones, who left for California.
Yeah, and Peggy Evans is, without question, the best girls basketball player, in my opinion, to ever play in Oakland County. She was as dominant can be. Ended up playing at Tennessee and then Ohio State. And she is just as good of a coach. Won a state championship as a player at Country Day.
Right.
Won a state championship as a coach at Inkster. She coached at Oak Park back about 10 years ago.
Do you think the relationship with Coach Greg Carter did something to do with it?
For sure. I'm sure that Greg wanted to bring her over there, and why wouldn't you? And she's such an outstanding coach and a role model for young ladies. And Diane Jones was as well. Coach Jones, brought that program back from the depths, and they shared a league title last year. And
with Royal Oak, yeah.
And I have little doubt in my mind that Peggy Evans-Carr is just going to take that needle and keep pushing it. Forward.
I do got some concerns with that program though, because when you look at, I talked to Diane Jones last year, and she said that they're not getting consistent players, and it starts in the lower levels. You know what I mean?
Well,
the middle school and the sub-varsity levels.
And that area though, it's also kind of Lathrop is the kind of the magnet for all the best girls basketball players.
Right.
And if you're a girls basketball player living in Oak
You're
Park,
probably going to go.
You're going to try to
go to Lathrop. Yeah, but now you got Lathrop's going to be closing.
Right.
So you might get some of those back.
Yeah.
So when you look at Southfield Lathrop, it's state championship or plus for them this year.
Deja Church is a Goliath talent.
Antoinette Miller came over from Ferndale, going to Cincinnati.
And then the Bellow girls that are going to Minnesota.
Dominique and Taj. Yep.
It's
Kikhandre and Kikhandre.
Ty and
Kahindi. Yeah, that's it.
The Bellow sisters in the middle. Like you said, Antoinette Miller, who committed to Cincinnati. Deja Church is going to have her pick of schools where she wants to go. She was probably their best player when she was a freshman. Now she's a junior. She is just pure electricity on the basketball floor and is savvy, is deadly, and is as coachable. When you put those two things together, when you have a player that's outstanding talent and got a level head and knows the game, can't just play the game. Those are three things that are kind of
Can you just imagine next year, what's going to happen at Southfield, the new Southfield High School? Who do you think coaches that team?
Well, I would guess Michelle would keep the...
You got Jamie Gins, who's the Southfield coach.
I know, but do you really think all due respect to Jamie Glynns, but if you're deciding between Michelle and Jamie, you're going to give it to Jamie over Michelle? No.
And then you
give it to Michelle over Jamie, and then I'm guessing Mike Avery would get the nod over Desmond Denham. But I could be wrong with that too.
Right, but you got to look at you got to look at what's going on with the
the football program. Tim Conley will
be the coach. But when you look at Southfield, in their Blue Jays this year, they got a lot of experience back, in the blue. They could be the favorite in the blue this year.
Well, look at last year. They had a great year. Jamie Glenns was a really good coach. And I didn't say that before as any knock on Jamie.
Right.
But Michelle is, kind of in a positioning by herself in terms of one of the real few elite handful of female coaches in the state. Yeah. So I would have a hard time believing that they wouldn't.
And she's won a state title at Lathrop.
And has had many, many very, very, very good teams, state-ranked teams, nationally ranked teams. I would be shocked if she's not the head coach next year.
And you look at Harrison, of course. You got Harrison. You know what I mean?
Miklish?
Yeah, Miklash's team. I mean, I've heard rumors though he may be out though. I heard a rumor about that.
That he might be out this year.
He might be out this year because he just had a kid.
I know he just had a child.
He had a child, yeah. So
I don't know. We'll see, but I know they got some really.
You got Amber Steffens and Kristen Nelson.
Amber Stevens and Steffens and Kristen Nelson. I love Kristen Nelson. She's going to Southern Illinois. Amber's not committed yet. I don't think
she's committed yet, but she'll go D1.
But she's definitely go D1. But Kristen is another one of these girls that she's a coach on the floor. She can score. She can distribute. She's clutch. I love Kristen Nelson.
Kristen Nelson. Yep. Let's go to the city of Rochester. Of course, Kellen James, new coach of the Cougar Corps, replacing Brad Crichton. Of course, the system I don't think will change there, but Stony Creek's going to have to replace a lot of talent. They lost Maria Zandy last year. They do return Allie Voss and Emily Solk to that team. But what's your thoughts on the Cougars this year with the hire of Kellen James?
Well, I think it's another inspired hire, and Kellen is another one of these guys that paid his dues and has been on a lot of benches, both boys basketball and girls basketball. Been a JV coach, an assistant coach on varsity, and was Brad's right-hand man the last couple of years. And I think it will just be a seamless transition. I think he's going to run a lot of the same
principles
stuff.
Does, yep.
And then he also brings the stuff that he learned from coaches like Tom Negocian, who he learned from, and
Steve Emmert, who's at Oxford. He could be in for a miserable year this year, unfortunately, in the red.
No offense. I love the Voss sisters. Anyone with the last name Voss can play basketball on my team.
I mean, it could be very interesting there. I mean, Allie Voss, very good player there. Let's stay with Rochester.
But losing Maria Zandy, I mean,
that's going to hurt.
She was one of the.
They do got some size concerns.
One of the best female floor generals. Female floor generals I'd watched in a long time coming out of the Rochester area on the last couple of years. Just so steady, so smart. And again, like I said about Kristen Nelson, just so clutch.
Speaking of the Rochester area, of course, Adams. This is
you let me know about it. I didn't know they got a big transfer.
They had a big transfer in Taylor Smith coming over there from Adams to Linden. I mean, she came over from Linden to go to place for Adams. Smith, of course, a very good penetrator. I mean, I've seen her play. She's a very good player. And then you have her, putting her with Maggie Rogers. They play in the same AU team together. And then you bring in a girl like Ryan. You have Ryan Owusu there, and of course you have Olivia Argroth there. But the question's going to be for Adams this year is bench production. You know what I mean? Adams last year had Amber Jameson last year, Raven Owusu, and Deja Dinkins. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic over there with Adams with that.
Yeah, I love Maggie Rogers is another one I really, I can hopefully sometimes I can look at a kid after watching only one or two times down the floor. First time I see him, and I can she's one of those girls I saw. I like the way she moves. I like the way she approaches the game. She's got a very, fearless spirit, great jump shot. Last year as a sophomore, she played like a senior, and in these last 2 years, I think she'll be a catalyst for this group.
She's gonna be very, very
Lewis,
good.
First year last year, alumni came back to coach.
Alumni, yep, very good coach. Let's go to the white, of course. This is a very interesting division coming up. You got Lake Orion in there. You got North Farmington, Bloomfield Hills. And then you got Royal Oak and West Bloomfield. I think it's gonna be a very interesting league. And you got Troy's also in there. So
Royal Oak bumped up.
Royal Oak bumped up, yes.
Okay. Well.
I mean, what's your thoughts on this division with North Farmington going down to deal with teams like Orion, Bloomfield Hills, West Bloomfield, and all them?
I think it's good for Lake Orion. Good for North Farmington. I think they would have struggled.
I could say it's a good thing for Orion too, because Orion's one of the favorites. He returned a girl like Evelyn Wishmeyer and Lauren Thorne coming back, and he got Delaney Hahn, Jordan Marquez to come back. They still got to address the shooting guard issues. But you look at a team like Bloomfield Hills, though. they've got
a lot of good talent.
They got a lot of good talent.
Jeff
Rubin's a magnificent job.
Magnificent coach, and as much as I'm happy for Mike Mariansky getting that boys job for Bloomfield Hills, I feel bad that Jeff Rubin didn't get it. I know he wanted it really bad. He's been the coach for the Andover boys, and
right, but
did a really good job.
Do you think it would have made sense if it would have been nearly impossible?
It would have been hard.
Coached both teams, yeah. But when you look at Bloomfield Hills' team this year, they got Amanda Sape, Victory Franklin. It's gonna be their 4. Then you got Samantha Patterson coming up, and then they got Catherine Prena, Becca Hancock.
I like Prena a lot as the point guard.
And then you got Amanda Wright, who played on JV last year. Is going to be merging probably as the starting point guard for Rubin. But a lot of hype surrounding Amanda Sape.
Prena won't run the point?
I think she's a shooting guard.
Okay.
And then you got Amanda Sape, of course, the big monster, sort of like Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, she's good. I like on North Farmington,
Kira
Crockett, whose sister Casey was on some of those really good Country Day teams. Played at Dartmouth, I believe.
Then you have the Tierney sisters there, and you got Amber Stevens Watts, who's expected to be the point guard for Coach Jeff Simpson this year. And then you got then of course you got West Bloomfield with Zach Hilbert's team. Of course you got Charlie Gustav's coming back. You got Taylor Pierce coming back. They got 2 freshmen that I know that I've heard are very, very talented players. So West Bloomfield could be an interesting team watch. And Royal Oak, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Coach Zapata.
Yeah, Brian Zapata.
He'll get them adapted to the new division.
It's not going to be easy, I'll tell you that much. But they got some the sophomore class is very big. All right, let's go to the blue now. Okay, let's go to the blue. Of course, Seaholm, Mackenzie Harbor. On there, you got Dana Horman there at Seaholm. I mean,
January Hadaki.
January Hadaki's a good coach. I mean, but when you look at Seaholm, when you look at the Maples, I think the departure of Molly Stellenberg has really impacted this team because you could really tell that with her departing to Chicago, and that really had a huge effect on Seaholm last year.
Yeah, you kind of maybe expected a little bit better year from them last year, but Mackenzie is, she can go toe-to-toe with almost any guard.
She had 29 against Orion last year.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a natural scorer that has a nose for the bucket like few I've covered. And, she's another one of these kind of players that, with her on your team, you're always going to have a chance. And she's got 2 more years of high school, and I expect, continually expect big things from her.
Do you think they're touching Southfield this year? Probably not.
Probably not. South is probably the favorite again.
Yeah, and then you got Rochester, who I like Paola Bazera a lot, but they did suffer a big loss with Zoe Schultz out for the year at Rochester. Forgot to mention one more team in the red, though, before we go to the gold. Clarkston. Of course, Kayla, no more Erica Davenport. Christine Rogers, new coach, taking over Tim Waslick.
Tim Waslick Waslick is moving over to
the boys
bench to be a from what I understand, to be groomed to take over for Dan Fife when Dan leaves in the next year or two. Tim will take over. Off the record, that's or nothing's official, but that's the rumors I've heard, and that's why he's moving over there. So it's. No Erica Davenport. I mean, they got a really nice incoming sophomore in
Kayla Lugenbach, yep.
Kayla Russell.
Yeah, Kayla Russell's very good. Yep,
really
Kayla
good.
Russell, yep. And then you got Megan Deerdorf looking like the starting point guard. You got Christian Page who can possibly play there. But the question is going to be, that schedule is brutal for Clarkson.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to replace someone as
good as Davenport.
I mean, she was just so tough to deal with in the middle.
She could shoot the 3 anywhere. You know what I mean?
But I mean, if she was someone as an opposing coach, you always had to be aware of where she was.
Yep.
And she could just do so many things underneath the basket. She showed that she could shoot the ball, and she could run the floor. I mean, she's like a gazelle running the floor.
And then we got Oxford, and then we'll go to the gold.
She's at Marquette now.
Yeah, she's at Marquette. Now we got Oxford here. Let's look at Steve Emmert's team. This could be a long year for Steve Emmert.
Yeah, and if you know Steve, he doesn't like losing, man.
No.
He lives with it.
No, I know. It's going to be difficult for Steve Emmert's team this year.
It's going to test his
It's going to test his resolve on the bench. It'll test him. I mean, of course, they play Orion their first game of the year. I've been hearing a lot of rumors that Orion and Oxford could be wearing pink in that game.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, and then the final division's the gold. You got Berkeley with Berkeley's gonna be solid this year. Athens will be solid this year. Of Of course, it's a 2-team race in there. Hazel Park's got an emerging star in there, and then Groves is down there as well. So
probably Berkeley. I'd say Berkeley.
Yeah, because of Summers, Anderson, and well, Athens got a good guard, Maddie Crum.
I haven't seen her.
Oh, she's not bad. She is not bad. You know what I mean? Like I've seen her. I've watched her on YouTube.
I haven't covered an Athens girls game since like Sinclair Russell.
Yeah. Well, Athens will be all right.
It's been a couple of years.
Athens will be all right this year. Of course, we'll keep an eye on the league as we do this year. I like to. I mean, like get your final thoughts on the mergers of Southfield and the possible rumor of Harrison closing.
Yeah, I would guess that the Harrison. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think that most likely before it's all said and done, whether it's the end of this year or in a couple years from now, Harrison will no longer exist. I don't feel like the school board or the city really. What you would think they would want to cherish the tradition that Farmington Hills Harrison football has created. It's more than just a local Metro Detroit thing. I believe that nationwide in certain circles, when you say Farmington Hills, Michigan, they immediately think Harrison football.
Yep.
That's something that a lot of people take a lot of pride with, and I think they should take a lot of pride with. I think it should matter more in terms of when you're talking about closing schools. But I think when it really comes down to things, I don't think the city really cares.
Right. And I think the budget.
And the budget and what's most fiscally.
But do you think with Southfield merging? Sorry about this, Scott. Do you think with the Southfield what do you think now with Southfield merging next year, Harrison possibly closing?
They're going to get Southfield's going to get all those kids.
Yeah, they're going to get all those kids.
If Harrison does close, Southfield will benefit more from the Harrison closing than the Lathrop merger.
Right, and that's going to basically hurt. And then, do you think the OA should expand?
You think might have to.
Might have to, because I think perfect team to look at, maximum success, but looking at county teams, different county teams. I think the perfect fit would be probably bring back Brandon, bring Holly in, possibly bring Lapeer in.
Holly needs to get out of the Flint Metro.
Yeah, Holly and Brandon both need to go. Yeah. And I think you bring back Clausen, and I think you bring in Lapeer.
I'd like to see Brandon.
Yeah,
or even the Madison schools.
Oh yeah, I would like to bring Lapeer in because Lapeer makes a lot of sense. I think.
I'd like to see Madison Heights playing some football against the white and blue.
Oh, that would be fun. I agree with you, but let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Thank you coming on,
Thanks,
Scott.
Buddy. I appreciate it. Let me anytime you need, if you want to hook back up on the podcast later in the year.
You follow my blog on Inside the OA and the Dragons. Then follow
and
Scott.
Bernie's Bites is now at statechampsnetwork.com. I moved it last month from Oakland Press and myprepzone.com, and as opposed to before when I was just blogging about Oakland County, now I really take on the whole state, focus on Metro Detroit, but pretty much it's a statewide blog now.
But you keep an eye on our latest blogs, so keep an eye on our projections and stuff for the latest seasons around football and basketball world.
You can follow me at Bernie's Tweets.
Yep, follow Scott Bernstein on Bernie's Tweets, and you can follow me. I'm at Saginaw Bay on Twitter. Enjoy it. Good night, and God bless all.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
OAA Now is produced at Orion Neighborhood Television, Lake Orion's community media outlet. To learn more about ONTV, visit our website at www.orionontv.org or call us at 248-393-1060.